What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shout out to everybody for being here. I truly do appreciate you guys. I appreciate y'all waiting. We are now starting our league reviews, gentlemen. We're going to be doing a pretty decent amount of leagues today. I believe it's going to be around 8 to 10 leagues. And then for those that are not in the leagues and are not getting their teams reviewed, that's because you guys didn't do the proper steps. So I'm going to assume you guys don't want your teams reviewed. With that being said, guys, we're going to start with League 29, and we do have, one second, let me make sure I zoom in for this. We do have Wool in here that wants his team reviewed. So from everybody, Wool does want his team reviewed. Wool, if you're in here, all right, this is your team. You have holy moly, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 first-round picks. Oh my God, all right. And let's go ahead and take a look at your draft results real quick. Let's see how you drafted. You're playing for next year, Wool. And I do like that a lot, especially with the 5 first-round picks. All right, Wool. If we take a look at your team, one second, guys. I do apologize. Let me do this real quick. Perfect. That should be good, guys. I will be screen sharing right down here. If you guys can't see anything or if it is hard, please just let me know and we can go. Alright guys, we're going to start with Wool. You have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, which is phenomenal. You have Quinshon Judkins as your running back 1, which is amazing. You have Singleton, who has upside, and I don't mind that pick at all for you. Next year, you can definitely get a running back for that. You have great wide receivers, Jordan Tyson and Marvin Harrison. Not only that, you have a great tight end, Will Tucker Kraft. You have Parker Washington, Matthew Golden, and Trey Harris. I don't mind Parker Washington or Matthew Golden at all. Trey Harris does have a little bit of upside as well. And you have Cam Ward. For someone that has 5 first-round picks next year, these are amazingly well done. Amazingly well done. Do you have any 2028 picks? Let me see that. Does not look like you have any 2028 picks. But so far, this is phenomenal. You have Shedeur Sanders, Zakarian Branch, Terrence Ferg, Jalen Noel. You do have upside bench players on your team. I will say that. I think the biggest struggle for your team is going to be to make sure you do some wise trades. So for example, you do have Patrick Mahomes, but you don't really need Patrick Mahomes, man. He's turning 30 years old. So what I would tell you, because you are playing for next year, what I would tell you is maybe once Patrick Mahomes starts dominating like he does after his injury, he's gonna be back to his prime self, prime value, first round value. So I would try to maybe trade him first round value for Jaden Daniels or Drake May. If so, let's say Drake May is having a stretch of bad games or Jaden Daniels is having a stretch of bad games, that's when you could do those trades. But so far, this team is phenomenal, especially with those 5 first round picks. Let's just say use one of them for the running back. That's fixed. Use 2 of them for the flexes. That's fixed. Use 1 of them for the quarterback. Now that's fixed as well. So that's 4 first-round picks you ought to have. And the 5th one could be for bench as well. And that could also be fixed. I really like this team. I think I'm going to give this team a high 7.8. The main reason is I think once you do trade Patrick Mahomes, I do think you are going to get more value out of him. And your team is going to get boosted up for that. With that being said, you did not get Patrick Mahomes at a bad value. You got him at 3.9, and I actually really do like that. If we take a look at all the quarterbacks I went after, I wouldn't really take Patrick Mahomes after Hurts, Bo, or Trevor Lawrence. So I do think you got him at 3.9 at a prime spot. So I'm actually going to give this rating an 8.1 because your team is so solid. It has so much upside. Singleton could be the running back 1. Parker Washington could have a lot of upside. Matthew Golden was a first-round pick last year, so he could be the wide receiver 1 on that team. So I really do like this, man. I'm gonna give this team an 8.1. Well, I think you did really, really nice with this team. Good drafting, my brother. You have a great tight end as well. Well, the only thing I probably wouldn't have done is Cam Ward. I think instead of Cam Ward, maybe you should run with a J-Love. I'm a bigger fan of J-Love than Cam Ward, personally. Now, Cam Ward is younger, but I don't think you need. He's with the Titans. I don't think that's going to do anything, to be honest. All right, guys. With that being said, we are now going to go to League 30. Let me go ahead and go to League 30 real quick. I did miss Leron James's name here, so I do have to go ahead and review his team real quick. All right, Leron, welcome, my brother. If we take a look at your team, my friend, you do have, oh my God, you have 4 first-round picks as well. All right, let's go take a look at your team now. This is perfect comparison because you guys are both playing for the future, and I really want to see how this goes. All right, Leron, you have Jordan Love as your quarterback 1, phenomenal, but getting him at the 4-6 is way too early, man. We just saw Jordan Love get picked at the 7th round, and you're picking him at the 4th round. Just a tad bit too early, man. 3 rounds too early, 2 rounds too early. Your running backs do need a lot of work, but JCM can be that running back 1. Drake London and Marver are going to be phenomenal wide receivers for you. Brock Bowers is going to be an elite tight end. You have Kyle Lemon, who I really do love, but Pearsall and Addison as your flexes, I don't love with Kyler Murray yet. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, he's 32. I'm not sure what when we're playing for the future, guys, do not draft these old quarterbacks. What I would say is instead of going with Baker Mayfield here, maybe you should run with somebody like a CJ Stroud, who's 24 years old, who has upside, who could still be back to his rookie self with a proper O-line. So what I would say is Baker is probably a little bit of a misvalue for your team. You have Chris Bell, you have Sterling, Sampson, Fields, Carson Beck. You do have upside on your bench, but you have 4 first-round picks. Let's just say one of them is for the running back, one of them is for the 2 of them are for the flexes, and then the other one could be for your quarterback room. So I don't hate those at all. What I will say is I do think you should trade Baker Mayfield and go for a younger quarterback. But that's the only thing I would do on this team. But this is phenomenal team so far. I'm going to give it a 7.9. I do think the other team that had 5 first-round picks, and I think it was Wool. Yeah, Wool had 5 first-round picks. I do think that team has just a tad bit more upside than you because of the amount of first-round picks. But I still like both teams very much. 7.9 to you and an 8.1 to 7.9 to you and 8.1 to Wool, my brother. All right, my dog does wanna. Just give me 1 second, guys. Hey, bud. I love ya. All right, guys. It's okay. All right, guys. We are now going to be going to League 31, and we do have a lot of people in League 31 that need their teams reviewed. Let me go ahead and take a look at those teams. All right, in here we do have Jay Burrows, who has 2 second-round picks next year. He has 1 first-round pick this year. I don't mind that at all. If we take a look at the draft results here, Jay Burrows is drafting. Where's he at? At the 111. All right, Burrows. Lamar at the 111 is phenomenal. You also paired him up with Devon Achane and Breece Hall, who are going to be great running backs, especially with a contract extension that they both got. Connell Tate and A.J. Brown have a lot of upside as long as A.J. Brown gets traded. And I don't know if you guys heard the news or not, but A.J. Brown is trying to, I think, get a high-scale apartment in Boston, so that indicates he's going to go to New England. Jake Ferguson's going to be a great tight end. You have Scatterbo, DeAndre Swift, and Jaden Reed. I do like Scatterbo and DeAndre Swift, but I don't think Jaden Reed has a lot of juice left in him, guys. And the reason I say that is because he doesn't have, let me go ahead and load up the Discord real quick. I'll show you guys why. If we take a look at the projections on Jaden Reed, gentlemen, Jaden Reed is not projected much. Jaden Reed is unfortunately not projected a lot, guys. He's only projected, I think, 650 yards. 625. I'm sorry, it was even lower. 625 yards. So that's not a lot of projections. What's up, bud? So that means the sport books are not that high on him. The sports books are higher on Matthew Golden and Christian Watson. So your third flex does worry me. You have CJ Stroud, who is a good quarterback. In my opinion, still, I know he's on the younger side, but quarterbacks can have off years, guys. Malik Willis, upside. You have Sutton, safety. You can play in Sutton for Jaden Reed if needed. Kenneth Gainwell, Pacheco, Juwan Jennings. What I will say is I don't mind your bench, but I was hoping to see more upside on your bench. You have Cortland Sutton. You do not need Isaiah Pacheco and Kenneth Gainwell anymore. You have Cortland Sutton. You do not need Juwan Jennings anymore. You have Cortland Sutton. You don't need, I mean, you have Jake Ferguson. You don't need a David Njoku when you have Jake Ferguson. You're never going to play him. I like Troy Franklin's upside. That's about it. The only upside player you have on your bench is Troy Franklin, guys. You're not going to draft the next Puka Nacua, who is going in the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th rounds, or Chase Brown, who is going in the 20th rounds, by drafting an Isaiah Pacheco, by drafting a Juwan Jennings, by drafting, Will Howard, or, somebody like that. So what I would recommend is on your bench, go for one safe player, and the rest has to be upside players. So what I will say is your flex 3 is on the weaker side. And that's about it. This team is solid. So with that being said, I'm going to give this team a 7.7, Jay Burrows. I do like this team. The team is solid, but your bench needs improvement and your flex 3 needs improvement. With that being said, shout out to you for being here. We are now going to go to TN Snake, guys. TN Snake. Let's go ahead and take a look at TN Snake's team real quick. TN Snake does have a first round pick, guys. I always look at the first round picks because they're very important and how your team is shaped. With that being said, TN Snake does have his first round pick. TN Snake, let's go ahead and take a look at your team, my brother. Dart is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Getting him at the 2-3 is way too early, though, in my opinion, man. You took Dart over Caleb Williams, over Joe Burrow. I think that was just a little bit too early on him. I think maybe you could have traded back and took him around this area even. Hampton and McCaffrey are going to be amazing running backs. J-Mo and Devontae are going to be phenomenal wide receivers. Crowder's going to be a good tight end. Then you have Saquon, Kyle Monangai, and Mike Evans. I like Saquon and Mike Evans, but then you have Kyle Monangai as your flex player. I don't like that. You have Sam Darnold. You do not have a third quarterback, which weakens this team. You have Ramondre, Malachi Stribling, Bigsby, Juwan Johnson, Torrey Horton, J-Mo. What I will say about this team, man, is that this is a win-now team. With this being a win-now team, because you have so many older players like McCaffrey, like Devontae Adams, like Saquon, like Mike Evans, like Sam Darnold, you want to make sure you trade your first-round pick here and try to have your second flex filled. Because Kyle Monangai is not somebody you can trust. Now, let's just say you have Kyle Monangai here and Mike Evans or Saquon gets hurt or Devontae or Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. You can't really trust any of your bench players to come up and give you those points. And let's just say one of your players gets injured, then next year you're going to have that first round pick and you're going to have a bunch of old guys on your team. So because you're playing to win now, I would recommend for you to trade your first round pick and improve your bench with a safety player and improve your flex with a better player than Kyle Monangai. But unfortunately, because you don't have a quarterback 3, because your bench is a little bit on the weaker side, because your flex 2 is on the weaker side, because your team's on the older side, I'm going to have to give this team probably a 6.8. I'm not the biggest fan of drafting older people, especially when my full team is not on the younger side. But with that being said, 6.8 Snake, I appreciate you for being here. We're now going to go to 04 Pistons, guys. 04 Pistons. Let me make sure everything is all good. Yes, sir. All right, guys. With that being said, we are now going to go forward to 04 Pistons. Pistons, my brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 1 second. Alright guys, while I am doing this, I am responding to people as well because people are asking some questions and everything. So I do want to make sure I am being proactive with everything. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day so far, man. Alright guys, with that being said, we are now going to go to Pistons team. Pistons, welcome my brother. If we take a look at your team real quick, right? It looks like you do have a first round pick, but you don't have any first round picks for 2028. And that worries me, brother. That does worry me. We are gonna have to go ahead and give me 1 second, guys. Usually I create these 1 second, gentlemen. We'll do this while you guys are here, actually. Usually we do this after the draft because some of these people are trustworthy, so we don't need to worry too much about them paying or not. Thankfully, with my leagues, guys, we got we got a great community over here. So no one's really sneaky or anything like that. So, all right, guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put the league safe down here. Pistons, make sure you pay for it. I'm sure you're going to be watching this, so make sure you pay for it right away. At 04 Pistons, please pay for 2028. All right, guys, with that being said, we are going to go take a look at Pistons team. He does have his first round pick from next year, but not in 2028. So that does worry me just a tad bit, but it doesn't signal any red flags if he does have a solid team. Cam Ward, guys, I just don't understand the Cam Ward hype. Cam Ward, when he did get drafted, he was getting picked at the 106, 107 in the rookie draft. So people were not that high on Cam Ward, especially with his landing spot. Personally, if I'm drafting Cam Ward here at the 6'8", man, I'm taking CJ Stroud all day over him. I'm taking Bryce Young over Cam Ward. Yes, I'm taking Bryce Young over Cam Ward. I'm taking Kyler Murray over Cam Ward. I'm not hating on Cam Ward. I'm from Miami. I love Miami. But it doesn't seem like, from the looks of it, he is going to be that fantasy football quarterback from what I've seen. But people can change. Who knows? Love and Chase Brown are going to be phenomenal running backs. Amon-Ra and Ted are going to be amazing wide receivers. Laporta is going to be a great tight end. Yeah, Brian Thomas, Zay Flowers, and Jadarian Price, as well as Matthew Golden. You don't have a second quarterback, and that is terrifying. You also don't have a third quarterback, which is also terrifying. Not only that, man, you should go ahead and see what Brian Thomas is projected to. This is for everybody that's watching this, guys. Brian Thomas Jr., you're going to shock you. Brian Thomas Jr. is projected 675 receiving yards, guys. We take a look at somebody like Parker Washington, right? Parker Washington is projected, as you guys can see, 750. So 750 to 675. That's almost 100 more receiving yards for Parker Washington than Brian Thomas Jr. So the sport books do think that he's not going to do that well. Matthew Golden is also around that range, around 675. So your flex is on the weaker side with Brian Thomas. Your super flex is really weak with you not having a quarterback one. What I would recommend is you trading for a quarterback one for that super flex spot. You have Romeo Doubs, Tua, Shedeur Sanders, Elijah, Dallas Goedert, Caleb Johnson. Your bench, in my opinion, does not have a lot of upside, man. I don't see a lot of players with upside here. Terrence Ferguson, I believe they drafted Max Clare, right? Ferguson is going to have no value anymore. Malik Washington, barely any value. Caleb Johnson, I'm surprised he's not cut from last year. Goedert, why are we drafting Goedert here when he's turning, 32 years old? And they drafted Eli Stowers? Shedeur, I get it. It's not a terrible pick. It's not an amazing pick. Romeo Doubs, A.J. Brown is going to be there too. Your bench needs a lot of work, man. Your super flex needs a lot of work. Your flex one needs a lot of work. I'm not the biggest fan of this team. And you traded away your 2028 first round pick. I might have to give this team a 4.3 because of the reasons I just stated. When you guys are drafting the super flex, guys, please don't forget your quarterbacks are very important. I would try to prioritize quarterbacks over role players anytime because you can find role players in the waivers, but you can't find good quarterbacks on the waivers, guys. 4.1, 4.2 to Pistons. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you guys. All right, now we are going to go forward to MMC Guire. MMC Guire, where are you at? Let me go ahead and take a look. All right, perfect, my friend. All right, MMC. Mahomes is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Let's go ahead and take a look if you traded any future first. You actually gained a future first. You gained Pistons future first. That's going to be phenomenal for you in the long run. Mahomes is going to be a phenomenal. Judkins and Tudor are going to be amazing running backs because of their projections on sportbooks. Jason, Devontae are going to be phenomenal wide receivers. Brock Bowers is going to be a great tight end. You have Sadiq, Jordan Addison, Parker Washington, and then you have Bo Nix as well. Now, Sadiq might have a slower start, but we saw what Geno Smith did with Brock Bowers. There's no reason not to say Geno Smith won't do that with Kenyon Sadiq. Jordan Addison, this year is not going to be his year, unfortunately. Last year wasn't his year. Now he's competing with Juwan Jennings, TJ Hawkinson being healthy, Justin Jefferson. I don't love that for you, so and Parker Washington is projected more than Brian Thomas, but that projection is not a lot. It's not like he's projected 1,000 yards, so I would be worrisome as well. But you do have Bo Nix. You do not have a quarterback 3 on this team. Michael Penix is borderline backup quarterback. So I don't love that. You do have Mark Andrews, Jaden Higgins, Zach Charbonnet, Jalen McMillan, Keaton Mitchell. When I'm looking for upside, this is what I mean for upside, guys. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver 2. Charbonnet could still be the running back 1. Jalen McMillan could have a role easily, could beat out some players. Keaton Mitchell is still only 24 years old. Trey Harris got drafted last year, guys. He has upside as well. This is what I'm looking for the bench. What I will say is your flexes need a lot of improvement. You do need a quarterback 3. I don't trust Penix as your quarterback 3. And besides that, this is a very solid team. What does worry me is if Judkins or Tudor gets hurt, right? And Charbonnet is already hurt as well. You can't really trust any of your running backs here at all. So what I would say is your running backs are on the weaker side because you don't have a running back 3. Your quarterbacks are on the weaker side because you don't have a quarterback 3. And your flexes are a little bit on the weaker side as well. I'm going to have to give this team around a 5.6. McGuire, 5.6, my brother. All right, we are going to go to Poxy Lizards. Poxy. Where you at? Perfect. All right, Poxy, if we take a look at your team, you have all your picks intact, which is amazing to see. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is your quarterback 1. Getting him at the 1.5, I'm not sure what we're thinking there. I mean, if it was after his rookie year, I would get it. But he had a massive down year last year. Now, you could say injuries, but that doesn't really matter. At the 1.5 is a little bit too early. If I were you, I would have tried moving down around this area and gotten him. I think it would have been better for you. Gentry and Travion are going to be phenomenal running backs, but Travion, guys, is not projected much on sportbooks as well. If we take a look at the Discord, guys, this is where I have the Discord. As you guys can see, Travion is projected 700 rushing yards. Ramondre is projected 625. They're projected the same amount of touchdowns. So you guys do have to be very, very wary of that because that is pretty scary. So I think Trayvon's going to have a better year next year than this year, but I do like Ashton Genty. Ladd and Mackay, I don't mind them as your wide receivers at all. Ladd did have a down year. Mackay is a rookie. Loveland is going to be a great tight end. You have Omar Cooper, Wandell, and Josh Downs. This is a horrid flex room. Cooper is a wide receiver 2 with the Jets. Wandell is a wide receiver 2 with the Titans. And then Josh Downs with the Colts. So the flex room definitely needs improvement. You have Jared Goff, and you don't have a quarterback 3 at all. Ty Simpson, guys, I will not trust Ty Simpson at all right now. Even next year, I don't know if I would even trust him. Now they're trying to do the Jordan Love strategy with him, but they reached on Ty Simpson. With Jordan Love, with Aaron Rodgers, guys, we sat back and waited for them to fall. With Ty Simpson, when you reach for a quarterback in the 13th pick, it's bittersome. But what I will say is that you do have Jeremy, Tyrone Tracy, Mike Washington, TJ Spears. You do have some upside on your bench. But your quarterbacks do worry me, man. Your running back 2 worries me, and your flex room worries me a lot as well. But you do have your first round pick of next year and 2028, so that does give you an upper advantage. I'm going to have to give this team a 4.8, Poxy, 4.8. All right, guys, with that being said, man, I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you, guys. I forgot to thank other people in the past leagues, but thank you to Patriots, Was, B-Hams, Matt, Poxy, GGG, Snagler, MMC, Pistons, Snake, Joy Barrows, and Dev Bovino. I appreciate everybody for being here. All right, now we are going to go forward to League 32, gentlemen. League 32. All right, if we take a look at League 32. All right, guys, 1 second. All right, in League 32, we do have a couple people that want their reviews. We're gonna start off with Smith. Smith, where you at, my brother? Right down here, Smith. Perfect. All right. You do not have any of your future first round picks, so this team should be phenomenal. If it's not phenomenal, man, I'm gonna be upset. Drake May is gonna be a great quarterback. Getting him at the one. Oh no, my bad. That's Crip. All right, C. Smith drafted at the 1 in the first round pick. You traded up for JSN. Okay. Justin Herbert as your quarterback 1 is not terrible, guys, but don't forget, man, he's the quarterback in a run-first offense. Patrick Mahomes is going to be a phenomenal super flex for you, though. And you do have Matthew Stafford as your third quarterback. Your quarterbacks are perfect. Judkins and Josh Jacobs are going to be Judkins and Josh Jacobs are going to be phenomenal running backs. Let's see if you have a third running back in case one of them gets injured. You have J.K. Dobbins, who I don't really trust that much. So your running back 3 definitely needs work. Jason and Malik are going to be phenomenal wide receivers. Ferg is going to be a great tight end. You have Garrett Wilson, Brian Thompson, Marv. I like Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison in here. Brian Thomas does have upside, but he does worry me. But you could easily play J.K. Dobbins and Cortland Sutton over him. As well as Michael Wilson. You could play Michael Wilson over Brian Thompson as well. This is a very solid team, man. But the one thing I don't like is your bench. Why are we drafting Aaron Jones here, man? Why are we drafting David Njoku here? Why are we drafting Colby Parkinson? Why are we drafting a Cortland Sutton when we have a Michael Wilson? Why are we drafting a J.K. Dobbins here? Your bench, when you have this many solid pieces on your starting lineup, you want to make sure your bench has more upside because you don't need more safety on your team at all anymore because you already have so many safe players with Jacobs, with Jason, with Malik, with Herbert, with Mahomes, with Garrett Wilson. So you want to make sure you draft upside after Michael Wilson, after Matthew Stafford. I like the Jaden Higgins pick, but J.K. Dobbins needs to be upside pick. Sutton needs to be an upside pick. Juwan Johnson, why are we drafting a Juwan Johnson here when we have a Jake Ferguson? Not only that, they have Noah Fant in that team now. They have Noah Fant, and they're going to be playing Noah Fant as well. Noah Fant was not a bad tight end at all. So your bench definitely needs improvement, but I still do like this team. Unfortunately, you having a weak running back 3 and your bench being on a little bit of the weaker side, I think I'm going to have to give this team a 7.7 C1. Still a very solid team, but I was just hoping you would go a different route with your bench personally. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you. We are going to go to Johnny Meerkat next. Johnny Meerkat. All right, Johnny. With that being said, Johnny, you do have your first round pick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 first round picks, 2 second round picks. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at your team. Johnny, you should be drafting all upside, all players that are valuable next year, like Travion Henderson, like an RJ Harvey. You should not be drafting any players that I don't want to see. All right, with that being said, Johnny Meerkat. All right, Fernando Mendoza. I love it because he's going to be better as time goes on. Breece Hall, why are we drafting Breece Hall? At the 4'11", guys, we should not be drafting Breece Hall. We should be drafting a player. Scat's pretty old too, but we should be drafting another player here or moving back. We should be drafting a Judkins. Judkins is 22 years old compared to Breece Hall, who's 24 years old. What is Breece Hall going to do to your team than Judkins isn't going to do? Breece Hall is with the Jets. Judkins with the Browns. You could say Judkins had a better year than Breece Hall last year. You know, now, don't get me wrong. He was injured, but during the games he did play, he was having a better year than Breece Hall. So I don't like that. Kyle Monanga is not a bad pick for the future. Jordan Tyson and Chris Bell, I don't mind these. Brock Bowers is going to be a good tight end. Kenyon Sadiq, Jonathan Brooks, and Jalen Cochran. And then you have Tyson. Man, you sold too much. You sold too much of your base to draft for the future. you still want to have a good base, guys. For example, my first person, Wool, right? Remember Wool, the guy that had 5 first-round picks? He still had a solid wide receiver room. He said he had a solid running back room, I think, or a solid quarterback room. You guys want to make sure you guys are drafting still a solid base, guys. These solid bases are very, very important because if you don't have a solid bench, a solid base, right? So let's just talk about this now. You need a wide receiver 2. So that's a first-round pick. You need a flex 1, flex 2, flex 3. That's 3 first-round picks. That's 4 now with the wide receiver 2. Now that you need a quarterback as well, besides Ty Simpson. So you need another first-round pick. That's 5 first-round picks. Not only that, you need a better bench because Stribling, Hurst, Trey Harris, what if they don't work out? What if they don't work out next year? You know, so you might need another first-round pick to make sure your bench is a little bit on the stronger side. So I do like your upside with the bench. I do like Ty Simpson because he's going to be playing next year or the year after that. But your wide receiver 2 is on the weaker side. Your flexes are really on the weaker side. What I would do is, man, I would try to trade Brock Bowers and I would try to trade Breece Hall to get a better base of your team. And then with the first-round picks you do have next year, it'll help you out a lot. That's what I would recommend for you. Unfortunately, I would have to give this team a 6.2, Johnny. 6.2. Even with the first-round picks, your base is too much of a problem for your first-round picks next year to fix it. So just be wary of that. All right, we are now going to go forward to winter is coming, guys. Winter is coming. All right, let me go ahead and give me 1 second.
I'm sorry that you messed up, but I don't seek revenge. I'm leaving with my head up, yeah, I know I can pretend. I'm fed up, had enough.
All right, guys, with that being said, we are now going to go forward to winter is coming. I apologize. All right, winter, you do not have any first-round picks next year. So let's take a look at your team real quick. All right, if we take a look at your team, man, you drafted in the 1-2. You went ahead and picked Josh Allen as your quarterback 2, which I don't mind whatsoever, guys. Christian McCaffrey and Kyren Williams are going to be great running backs. JJ and George Pickens are going to be great wide receivers. And you have Tucker Kraft. So far, this is a phenomenal team. You have Javonte. Oh, man, what are we doing with Travis Hunter and Chris Godwin here? Guys, Godwin is not projected as much as you guys think. Godwin's projected 600 receiving yards. Yes, 600. 675, so 75 yards more with only 4 touchdowns, 4.5. Very, very careful. Travis Hunter is a cornerback on your flex room. If we take a look at Travis Hunter's numbers, right? I don't even think he has numbers. He doesn't even have numbers, right? So your flexes are definitely on the weaker side. Not only that, you don't have a first-round pick next year. Then you have Brock Purdy and Jared Goff, who are phenomenal as your quarterback 2 and 3. You have likely Jacoby, Tony Pollard. So you can plug in Jacoby here. You can plug in Tony Pollard here. But they're both, neither are projected much either. Rashid Shaheed, Pacheco, Travis Kelce's on the older side as well. Max Clare has the upside. I will give you that. Io Minor has upside. Beck has some upside. But man, this flex room needs a lot of work. The bench is on the better side for sure. But the flex room needs a lot of work, especially with your first round pick not being there next year. With that being said, I still do like the team. I think your running backs are solid, your wide receivers are solid, your quarterback are solid, your tight end is solid, your flex 1 is solid, but your flexes 2 and 3 need a lot of work. With that being said, I'm still going to give this a decent rating. I think this team still deserves like a 6.5 because it's still a solid team. But your flexes, man, that's a horrid flex room right there. I wouldn't trust Jacoby Myers either. He got outgunned. He finished the year with 8 points, 7 points, 9 points. Personally, I wouldn't trust that. Pollard, he finished the year with 10 points, 9 points, and 6 points. I wouldn't trust that either. I would be careful with how you proceed with this, man. I would see if I could trade Josh Allen, get a lower quarterback, and improve my flex room. That's what I would do. I would see if I could trade, for Dak Prescott, for a Bo Nix, and, a Jadarian Price. I would try to see if I can improve my flex room for sure in that situation. 6.5 to you, winner. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you. All right, now we are going to go to Crip. Crip, my brother, welcome. All right, you do have 3 first-round picks next year, as well as 2 second-round picks next year, but you don't have your own second round, which worries me just a tad bit. Drake May is going to be a great quarterback for you. Kenneth Walker and Tudor are going to be great running backs. Watson and Pearsall. I like Watson, but Pearsall has done nothing to justify him being a wide receiver 2. Kincaid has done nothing either, guys. His whole career, he hasn't done really much. Dawson Knox is still in there. I don't know if I really love that as your tight end. Eli Stowers, George Kittle, Antonio Williams. Why are we drafting George Kittle? He's turning 33 years old. You're playing for next year. Crip. I don't love that at all for you. I would go ahead and try to trade George Kittle away right now if I could. Then you have Caleb Williams and Daniel Jones. I would trade Daniel Jones away again as well. He's 28 years old. He's turning 29. You have 2 old players on this team. You're not competing this year. You're not competing at all this year, man. So I would trade away George Kittle, Daniel Jones, Rachaad White. He's turning 28 years old, man. Your bench should be full of upside. Khalil Shakir turning 27. Brandon Ayuk turning 29. We need way more upside on this bench, man. Way more upside, especially with you competing for next year. We need a better flex 3. We need to trade away George Kittle and Daniel Jones, as well as Rachaad White, Shakir, and Brandon Ayuk. We're playing for next year, not this year, my friend. We need to trade away Kenneth Walker as well. Kenneth Walker is injury prone. He's turning 26 as well. Instead of Kenneth Walker, man, I would have drafted a Travion Henderson. Why are we drafting Kenneth Walker over a Travion Henderson? When Travion Henderson is going to have a better next year, which is what you need, then Kenneth Walker. Even if Kenneth Walker has a better next year, long term, Travion is going to have a better career than Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker is on the older side. So I don't like that at all for you, man. This is going to be on the lower side as well. But what I will say is you do have those 3 first-round picks, and that could help your team out a lot as long as you make the proper trades for this team. I think with everything being said, I am going to have to give this team a 5.9. A 5.9, Crip. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Now we are going to go forward to League 33, gentlemen. League 33. All right. If we take a look at League 33, we do have a couple players in here, gentlemen. We're going to start off with Jack. Where's Jack at? Where's Jack at? Is this League 33? It is League 33. Jack, there you go. Hey, baby. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. Alright, guys. With Jack's team, right? Jack, it looks like you do have 2 first-round picks next year, so that does boost your team out a lot. You can still compete this year as well with 2 first-round picks, believe it or not, Jack. You're drafting at the 111 here. You traded up for JSN. You have Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. Gentry and Devon Achane are going to be great running backs. JSN and Jordan Tyson are going to be great wide receivers. Godson is a little bit of a... I have mixed feelings about him because of David Njoku, so I would be a little bit worrisome. Lad, Omar, Parker Washington. I'm not sure what we're seeing in Omar that other people aren't seeing, guys. Omar is going to be the wide receiver 2 with the Jets. Think about that. Not the wide receiver 1. The wide receiver 2 with the Jets. I get if it's with the Bengals or with the Packers or, you know, with the Cowboys. It's the Jets. So, like they said, you're going to need you need a lot of patience for this person. But Parker Washington, you don't have a quarterback 3 at all either, man. You don't have a quarterback 3. You could have easily competed in this league if you drafted, instead of Omar Cooper, where did Omar Cooper go? At the 9-2, right? Why are we taking Omar Cooper here instead of Bryce Young? Instead of Michael Willis? Instead of Daniel Jones? Do you understand? You could have still competed in this league, still gotten one of the first 3 winnings if you drafted somebody else besides Omar Cooper, like those quarterbacks I just mentioned. You have Brandon Ayuk, AJ Brown, Tyrone Tracy, Isaac Tesla, Pat Bryant. I think, man, the bench is decent. The bench is decent. The bench is decent. But what I would say, man, is try to get another quarterback. Try to get another quarterback. Let's just say you had Romeo Doubs in here, right? You would have still had great running backs. You would have had great wide receivers. You would have had a decent tight end, and you would have had a pretty decent flex room as well with Romeo Doubs here. And you have a quarterback too with Bryce Young or Daniel Jones. Think about it. And you have 2 first-round picks next year. That would have been so much better than you drafting Omar Cooper. You know, I'm just saying. All right. With that being said, this team is still very solid. 2 first-round picks next year. That does get a bump in the team. I'm going to give this team a 6.2, Jack. 6.2, my friend. All right, we are going to go to Aussies next. Aussies, you do have your first-round picks next year. That is very, very good. You drafted at the 1-9, but you traded up for Josh Allen. Let me see if I like that. Because I'm being honest, Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson is not that much of a difference if we really think about it, you know? So, all right, Aussies, let's go ahead and take a look at your team. You have Josh Allen, your quarterback, 1, phenomenal. Kyron Williams and DeAndre Swift are going to be amazing running backs. Nico and T. Higgins are going to be great wide receivers. Harold Fane is going to be a great tight end. Laporta is going to be a great flex 1 for you. George Kittle, I see the vision. Jonah Coleman is going to be your biggest weakness on this team. You have Brock Purdy. You don't have a quarterback 3 on this team either, man. Brock Purdy's injury prone. Josh Allen is not injury prone, but he could. What if this is a year he gets injured? You know, so you do need a quarterback 3 in case Brock Purdy gets injured. You also have Jaden Reed, J.K. Dobbins. Now, you could play J.K. Dobbins or Jaden Reed over Jonah Coleman, but it doesn't make sense drafting Jonah Coleman here with your build here. Why are we taking Jonah Coleman over Mike Evans when we're competing for this year? Why are we taking Jonah Coleman over Parker Washington? Why are we taking a Jonah Coleman over Michael Pittman? Coleman is not going to do anything this year. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins, right? And you do have J.K. Dobbins, right? Once J.K. Dobbins gets hurt, maybe you could plug in Coleman, but that's going to be R.J. Harvey still being the running back 1 there. So the Coleman pick, I don't love at all. I think you could have drafted somebody else. So your flex 2 is on the weaker side. You don't have a quarterback 3. That's on the weaker side. Your bench is decent, but those are improvements you need to make. I'm going to have to give this team probably a 6.8 Aussies. 6.8, unfortunately. I think if you didn't trade up for Josh Allen, you kept your original pick, and you got a Lamar Jackson, and you improved your flex 2 room, I think that would have been a lot better for you. But due to those, I'm going to have to give this team a 6.8. Shout out to you for being here, Aussies. I appreciate you. We're going to go to Woorzy next. Woorzy's drafting at the 1-7. Woorzy. All right, brother. If we take a look at Woorzy's team, you have all your picks. You also have an additional 3rd-round pick, which doesn't do a whole lot, but it still boosts up your team. All right, Woorzy, where are you at? All right, you have Drake May as your quarterback 1. Phenomenal. Your quarterback 2 is Jordan Love, and you have Malik Willis, who has some upside as well. So your quarterbacks are in a very good spot. Henry and R.J. Harvey. Don't get me wrong, I like Henry, man, but 33 years old. 33 years old for Derrick Henry, right? Why are we drafting Henry over, DeAndre Swift, who's 27 years old? Why are we not drafting a Tudor over Henry, who's 24 years old? I get you still want to compete for this team. You still want to compete, but you want to compete smartly. So your running backs do worry me. Henry's too old. Harvey's too young for the team. He's not getting. J.K. Dobbins is still going to be there. But your wide receivers are phenomenal. Your tight end is great. And your benches with J-Mo, Kyle Monangai, and Michael Pittman. Guys, I will be honest. Pittman is not projected that much. Kyle Monangai is going to be the running back too. Your flexes are on the weaker side, but your quarterbacks are awesome. Chris Bell, Khalil Shakir. Why are we drafting Shakir here? Shakir has done nothing, guys. Shakir has done nothing to justify him getting drafted still with DJ Moore being there. Nothing. Instead of Shakir, man, why not go with some upside here, right? Let's just say Loveland gets hurt. Why not draft a TJ Hawkinson? You know, why not do that? Why not draft Tony Pollard, even though he's 30 years old, in case, one of your running backs gets hurt? Let's just say Derrick Henry gets hurt. You're going to trust a running back too? Will Kamananga? I'm not saying Kamananga is bad, guys. I know the Bears have a great rushing offense, but he's still the running back too on that team. I think, in my opinion, instead of drafting somebody like Khalil Shakir, you could have went definitely with a different route. Juwan Johnson, he's turning 30 years old. Noah Fant is on that team. I already told you guys the basics of that. Your bench definitely needs improvement. Your flex 2 needs improvement. Your running backs are a little bit on the iffier side, but this is still a decently solid team. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this team a 6.1. Worzy, 6.1. Shout out to you for being here. All right, we're going to go to Big Rice Ball next. He's drafting at the 1-1. Doesn't look like he's made any trades, guys. And you guys know how I feel about not making any trades, guys. When you don't make any trades, you're bound to have a weakness on your team. Unfortunately, that's just how it is, guys. Unfortunately. All right, guys, if we take a look at Big Rice Ball, Mendoza is going to be a decent quarterback. I don't mind him at the 6-1. Bijan and Scat Pack are going to be 2 great running backs. Ted and Carnell Tate are going to be 2 very good wide receivers. Max Clare, it's not his time yet. It's not Claire's time yet. It's not his time yet. It's still going to be Tyler Higbee's team, believe it or not. It's not Max Clare's time yet. Maybe it might be a 2 tight end set. Maybe it's going to be a Dalton Kincaid, a Dawson Knox situation, but it's not his time yet. Garrett Wilson, Casey, and Travis Hunter. Why are we drafting Travis Hunter still this far, guys? Travis Hunter, instead of Travis Hunter. 1 second, guys. All right, guys. With that being said, 1 second, gentlemen. 1 second. Something came up real quick. All right, guys. With that being said, your flexes are definitely on the weaker side. Now, don't get me wrong. KC could be the wide receiver 1 with the Browns. Garrett Wilson's a great flex for you. But instead of Travis Hunter here, man, why are we not taking somebody like a Devontae Adams? Why are we not taking somebody like a Christian Watson, a Matthew Golden, somebody to make your team better? Hunter is not an offensive player, guys. He was never the offensive player in college. He was the better cornerback than he was a wide receiver in college. He has to compete with Brian Thomas, Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers. There's going to be a lot of competition there, guys. Tyler Shough is actually an underrated pick. I actually don't mind Tyler Shough. Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, Jonathan Brooks, Tony Pollard you could plug in for Travis Hunter, JCM, Carson Beck, Drew Eller. This is a solid bench. I don't mind your bench at all because you do have upside with Higgins, you have upside with Downs, you have upside with Brooks, you have safety with Tony Pollard, you have some upside with JCM. Your bench is good. Your flex 3 does scare me. But besides that, for someone that didn't do any trades, this is a pretty decent team. Pretty decent team. I'm gonna end up giving this team probably a 7.0. I'm gonna give this team a 7.0 Rice Ball. For someone that didn't make any trades, for someone that has their future first round pick, for someone that has great running backs, great wide receivers, for someone that has a decent flex room, besides Travis Hunter, I will give this team a 7.0. What does concern me is your quarterback 3. Lack of quarterback 3. What does concern me is what's the word for it? A lack of a good running back 3. What does concern me is Mendoza's not gonna be slinging right away. He might not even start right away, guys. It might be Kirk Cousins to start right away. So I would be very, very not as optimistic for this team, but still a solid team. Actually, guys, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Mendoza is not gonna start, guys. If we take a look at his projections, right? If we take a look at his projections, he's okay. It doesn't say it in here, but I saw some before projections. He's supposed to start about 10 to 12 games. That means Kirk is starting 4 to 6 games. So while you're starting, Tyler Shook on the quarterback spot when Fernando Mendoza is not playing, you're going to have to rely on Josh Downs and Tony Pollard as your flex players and super flex players. So that does actually lower the rating for this team. I'm going to give this team a 6.7, right? 6.7 with everything we just said. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you. Last but not least, we're going to go to Putt Pie. Putt Pie is actually a decent drafter. Let's see how he did in this team. Putt Pie does have his first round pick as well as his 2028 pick as well. Putt Pie won with Cam Ward, Daniel Jones, and he does not have a quarterback 3. Your quarterbacks worry me. Daniel Jones is injury prone. Cam Ward is Cam Ward with the Titans. Jeremiah Lum, Kenneth Walker are going to be great running backs. Jamar and Egbuka are going to be great wide receivers. Strange is going to be a decent tight end, but they did draft a second-round tight end. Now, don't get me wrong, that second-round tight end is a blocking tight end, but I'm sure he's going to be catching some balls as well. So I would be somewhat concerned with that. Chase Brown, Bucky, Alec Pierce. This is a phenomenal flex room. So far, from what I see, besides your quarterbacks being on the weaker side, beautiful running backs, amazing wide receivers, and amazing flex room. You have Christian Watson, Wan'Dale Robinson, TJ Hawkinson, Jacoby. Guys, I get it. You want safety players on your team, but please don't forget to draft some upside players as well, man. Wan'Dale Robinson with Cardinal Tate isn't going to do much with the Titans. I would go ahead and try to Jaden Higgins, who could be the wide receiver 2 on that team. And with Nico Collins, if he does get hurt, Jaden Higgins could easily take over of that team. That's what I would do instead of Wan'Dale Robinson, or maybe go with somebody like, Chris Bell, who could be the wide receiver 1 on that team. I get Wan'Dale had a great year last year, but that was because Malik Neighbors was injured, guys. Malik Neighbors was injured. That's why he had a good year. Now he's going to be the wide receiver 2 on a horrible offense. Be very careful with that. All right, but with that being said, still a very solid team. I think this is probably the best team I rated in this league. I'm going to have to give this team a 7.7. Your quarterbacks are definitely on the weaker side. That does worry me, man. But overall, this is a pretty solid team. I'm going to give this team a 7.9 Popeye. 7.9. I still really like this team, a 7.9 to Popeye. Shout out to you for being here, brother. I do appreciate you. All right, guys, with that being said, League 33 is now done, guys. We do have 2 more leagues after this. Shout out to everybody for sticking with us. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's take a look at League 35, gentlemen. As you guys can see, League 34 is still drafting here. League 35. Oh, gentlemen. It looks like League 35 is not going to get their rating right now. Let me go ahead and try to adjust that because League 35 just got done drafting. So we're going to go to League 36 instead. Let me go ahead and delete League 35. League 36. We're going to go to League 36 instead. Let me fix that, gentlemen. Let me fix that real quick. All right, I'll go ahead and fix that once the stream is over. All right, but with that being said, let's go ahead and take a League 36. There's a lot of people in here, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people want one of their team reviewed in League 36. If we take a look at this team, right? Good Bird. You have 2 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks. You have 2 first-round picks. You have 2 second-round picks. You have 2 third-round picks. Basically, Matty traded his whole future for you. So let's go ahead and see how that worked out for him. All right, Good Bird. Let's take a look at your team. You drafted here at the 110. You did trade some players away. You have Caleb Williams, your quarterback 1. Getting him at the 2-3 is phenomenal. Bucky and Travis Etienne are going to be great running backs. Malik and Christian Watson are going to be great wide receivers. Tyler Warren is going to be a good tight end. Then you have Kyle Monangai, Parker Washington, and Matthew Golden. In my opinion, man, the flex room definitely needs improvement with Kyle Monangai, with Parker Washington, with Matthew Golden, as they're all in uncertain situations. You also have Cam Ward at the 6'10", guys. Please let me know what you guys are seeing at Cam Ward that I'm not seeing. What did Cam Ward do last year to justify him getting drafted over players like Kyler Murray, over players like CJ Stroud, over players like Bryce Young? What did Cam Ward do last year to justify him getting drafted that high, guys? You also don't have a quarterback 3, Shedeur Sanders. I'm not counting that as a quarterback 3 because he had a lot of improvement to do last year, man. He had a lot of improvement to do last year. If we really take a look at how he played. But of course, he didn't have the best weapons on that team. So your quarterback 3 definitely needs a lot of work. Your quarterback 2 is a little bit on the iffier side. Your flexes need a lot of work as well. You have Jonathan Brooks, Strange, Shedeur Sanders, Chris Chimera. What I will say is, man, let's just say one of your players gets hurt, right? You can't really trust any of your bench players, but you are not playing for this. You're playing for next year. What I would say is, man, trade Travis Etienne. He's turning 28 years old. You're playing for, because you have 2 first-round picks next year, right? Because you have 2 first-round picks next year, good bird. I would try to play for next year. And next year, I do believe Cam Ward, with him being more comfortable, he is going to be a lot better. And you could also get a quarterback 3. You could improve your flex room. So what I would definitely say is, man, go ahead and trade away Travis Etienne and get somebody younger on this team. But with that being said, this is still a very solid team. I'm going to give it a 6.4 though. 6.4. The flexes worry me a little bit. The bench worries me just a little bit. You don't have a quarterback 3. That worries me. Travis Etienne's on the older side. 6.4. 6.4, 6.5 to you, good bird. Shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you. We're now going to go forward to Brad's team. Brad. He drafted at the 1-9. If we take a look at Brad's team, he has 2 first-round picks next year. Okay, let's go ahead and see how he does. Guys, just because you have 2 first-round picks does not mean you can't still compete. So just know that. Caleb Williams is going to be a great quarterback. You have your... Okay. Let me go ahead and click on your team instead. Drake May is going to be a great quarterback. You have Dak Prescott as your quarterback 2, but you don't have a quarterback 3. That worries me. Dak Prescott is injury prone, guys. Dak Prescott is very injury prone. So be very careful with that. All right. Genty and Price are going to be phenomenal running backs for you. Ted and Marv are going to be amazing wide receivers as long as Marv does what he's supposed to do, man. Sadiq's going to be a good tight end. Waddle, and Omar Cooper. Again, what is Wandell and Omar Cooper going to do for your team? Right, guys? If we take a look at Wandell Robinson, okay? If we take a look at Wandell Robinson's projections, right, guys? He's projected 700 receiving yards, okay? 700 receiving yards. To be honest, I would take lower than that. Personally, I would take lower than that because Connell Tate is projected way more. Not way more, but more than Wandell Robinson. Meaning Wandell Robinson is going to be the wide receiver 2 in the Titans offense. Think about what I just said, right? Omar Cooper is going to be the wide receiver 2 in the Jets offense, right? So instead of Omar Cooper, why are we not taking a Matthew Golden here instead? Who got drafted ahead of Omar Cooper last year. I know Cooper got drafted this year. I'm just saying draft positions. Quentin Johnson, who has more upside than Omar Cooper. Parker Washington, who has more upside than Omar Cooper. And Wandell Robinson here. Why are we taking Wandell Robinson over somebody like Michael Wilson? Over somebody like DJ Moore, who we can still compete with? And Terry McLaurin, who is way better than Wandell Robinson. Now, Wandell Robinson is younger, but he's still on the Titans, guys. Your flex 2 and 3 does worry me. You have Singleton, Goddard. Why are we taking Goddard? He's 32 years old, and they drafted his backup already. Pat Bryant, Zakarian Branch, Caleb Johnson, Skylar Bell. I don't mind the rest of your bench at all. Jaden Reed, I don't mind again at all. Instead of Jaden Reed, though, I would have won with somebody like a Michael Penix or an Aaron Rodgers, just so I have my 3rd quarterback in case somebody gets hurt. That's what I would have done, though. But still a very solid team. Now, do I like this team more than Goodbird's team? Because you do have 2 first-round picks. But I do think if it was head-to-head, I think you would beat Goodbird's team. So I'm going to give your team I think I gave Goodbert's team a 6.4, 6.5. I think I'm gonna give your team a 6.7, Brad. 6.7. I still think you have a very solid team. I think, in my opinion, you should try to maybe trade away Drake May and get a lower quarterback, but somebody that can improve your flex room. All right, with that being said, we are going to go to Matty Ice's team. Now, Matty traded his whole future. We know that, right? We know Matty traded his whole future. So he should have a phenomenal, phenomenal team. All right, Hurts is going to be a great quarterback, okay? James Cook and Chase Brown are going to be great wide running backs. JJ and Lamb are going to be great wide receivers. Laporte is going to be a great tight end. Saquon, Kyron, and Ladd McConkey are going to be great flexes. And Baker is going to be a great quarterback. And then you have Malik Willis, Cam Scatterbo, who are going to be safe players. I love this team so far, especially with you trading away your future first-round picks. Blake Corum, Chris Bell, Journey, Chris Godwin, TJ Hawkinson. We don't need Chris Godwin we don't need Chris Godwin anymore. We don't need David Njoku anymore. At this point, draft some upside players with Godwin. Draft some upside players with David Njoku. We don't need those anymore. But your bench is not bad at all. Your running backs are great. Your quarterbacks are great. You have a quarterback there with Malik Willis. Your wide receivers are great. Your tight end is great. Your flexes are great. This is a very, very solid team. What I would say is your bench could be better, though. Your bench could be better. If you didn't draft Godwin, if you didn't draft David Njoku, if you drafted some other upside players, your bench could be a lot better. With that being said, this is a very solid team. I'm going to give this team an 8.5, Matty. 8.5, brother. Good drafting. A lot of people, when they trade away their futures, they do end up messing up somehow. But not only did you trade away your futures, but you also traded away your first-round pick. It looks like you have a very good team. Definitely could be a championship caliber team. Shout out to you, Matty. I appreciate you for being here. All right, we are now going to go forward to Jay Westerman. Where's Jay Westerman? J. All right, Jay. Let's go ahead and take a look at your team. Jay Westerman. All right, my brother. You have your future first round picks. It doesn't look like you did any trades, guys. You guys know what I like about that. What I don't like about that is that you're going to have a weak spot on your team. Burrow's going to be a great quarterback. McCaffrey and Monte are going to be great running backs. Chase and Luther Burden. Burden is one of the most overrated players in fantasy right now. Why are we taking Burden over, Garrett Wilson, over Ibuka, over AJ Brown, Devontae Smith? What has Burden done to deserve getting drafted at the 4-4? Genuinely, what has Burden done to be getting drafted there, guys? That worries me a lot, guys. All right, guys. With that being said, man, Burden, your wide receiver two, way too much of a reach. Tucker Kraft is going to be a great tight end. KC, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren. I love KC. DK and Jalen Warren are not going to do anything this year, guys. DK didn't do anything last year. Why do we think he's going to do anything this year? Jalen Warren is actually projected less, guys. Yes, I said that. Less than Rico Dowdle. If we take a look at where Rico Dowdle's projected 775 receiving yards. 775 receiving yards, guys. Jalen Warren is projected 600 rushing yards. Be very careful with both of them, of course. So your flexes definitely need work. You don't have a quarterback 3. That worries me. I like Jordan Love, but you don't have a quarterback 3. You have Worthy, Merritt, Rashid Shaheed, Hunter Henry. Like I said, you can have a weakness when you don't do any trades, guys. And your weakness is going to be your flex rooms for sure. Metcalf and Jalen Warren. You do have upside with Worthy, JCM, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Benson, Keon Coleman. So I don't mind that at all for you, but you don't have a safe player. Let's just say Warren or Metcalf doesn't do what you want him to do. Who are you going to plug in there? Xavier Worthy? What has Worthy done to give you any sort of hope for that? So what I would say is when you don't do trades like this, it's going to be on the lower side. I'm going to have to give this team a 6.0, Jay West. 6.0, brother. Shout out to you for being here. We're going to go to Skull next. Skull. Skull did draft at the 1-2, gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's take a look. Look. All right, Skull. It does not look like you traded away a first round pick, but it looks like you gained a first round pick. Wow, okay. I thought Goodbird gained a first round pick as well. Goodbird actually did not gain Maddie's first round pick. So that kind of lowers Goodbird's team, kind of. I thought he did get his first round pick. Okay. Goodbird, this is going to be a little bit on the... I think you should definitely, Goodbird, think about trading Travis Etienne for sure now. For sure now. All right. With that being said, we're going to go to Skull's team. Skull does have 2 first-round picks next year. All right, Skull. You also traded away your first-round pick as well. Jared Goff's going to be a great quarterback. You have Sam Darnold, who are your quarterbacks who I don't love, but I don't hate. But you also don't have a third quarterback who I don't love at all at that point. So your quarterbacks are on the weaker side. Travion and Kenneth Walker. It's not Travion's year this year. It's going to be next year. Kenneth Walker is going to be a good running back, though, for you. Drake London and Cardinal Tate are going to be great wide receivers. Loveland is going to be an elite tight end. Mekhi Lemon is going to be a great flex one for you. But Travis Hunter and RJ Harvey, it's not going to be Harvey's year at all either. Harvey's year is going to be next year because of J.K. Dobbins. Travis Hunter hasn't done anything to be drafted at the 8-8. At the 8-8. Over Alec Pierce, who just got signed to a massive extension. Over Christian Watson. What are we doing? What are we seeing with Travis Hunter? Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. Hunter, your flex 2 and 3 is definitely on the weaker side. You have Jake Ferrick, Pearsall, Penix, Emmett, Keyshawn Allen, Jalen McMillan. Your bench is decent, but man, your flex 2 and 3 is definitely on the weaker side, and your running back 2 is on the weaker side. I mean, your running back 1 with Travion Henderson is on the weaker side because, like projections said, man, they're not supposed to do amazing. With that being said, I do like this team more than the team that didn't do any trades, so I'm going to give this team a 6.2 Skull. Shout out to you for being here. Actually, a 6.3 because you do have a first-round pick of last year as well. All right, we are going to go to Bad Alex team next. Bad Alex drafted at the 1-1. It does not look like he did any trades at all, guys. I don't like those, as you guys know. I don't like when people don't do any trades because you're going to have a weakness on your team. You don't win leagues by just drafting. You win leagues by doing the right trades, by doing the right waiver wire pickups. You don't win a draft on... You don't win the league on draft day. Never, usually. All right. Alec, Josh Allen is going to be a great quarterback. Dart and CJ Stroud, your quarterbacks are phenomenal. Javante and Tudor are going to be great running backs. Pickens and Olave, great wide receivers. Kittle, good tight end. Rome, great flex one for you. Jordan Addison isn't going to do much this year. Jordan Mason isn't going to do much for you either. Flex 2 and 3, weaker side. Josh Allen, CJ Spears, Pacheco, Chig, Kamara. Why are we drafting Kamara? Kamara's not going to do anything. Kamara's a waste of a pick. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, waste of a pick. What I will say is your bench is on the better side. I do like Josh Downs. I do like TJ Spears. I do like Chig a lot as well. And I do like Tank Dell. But your flex 2 and 3 is on the weaker side, unfortunately. But I do like this team more than Jay West's team that didn't do any trades at all either. So I'm going to give your team a 6.1, Alec. 6.1, brother. All right, Remenzo next. Remenzo, my friend. You have 2 tight ends. At least you have your first round picks next year. All right, I like that. You have Tyler Shock as your quarterback 1. You have Bryce Haynes your quarterback 2 and Geno Smith as your quarterback 3. I don't mind those. Rico and Rashad White. I don't love those. I don't love those as your running backs. Rashid Rice and Jordan Titans are going to be great wide receivers. Trey McBride is going to be an elite tight end. Brock Bowers is going to be an elite flex 1. Kyle Pitts and Travis Kelce. This is not going to be a bad tight end. I get your vision, but it's only a 0.5 TP, guys. It's only a 0.5 TP. It's not like it's a huge TP. Just adds 0.5 to it. Don't get me wrong, I do like this. I do like the vision with it. It is different, but your running backs need a lot of work. Running backs need a lot of work. In my opinion, I would trade one of my first round picks this year to go grab a better running back for you. You have Brandon Ayuk, Chris Rodriguez, Jalen Coker, Trey Harris, Jerry Jeudy, Deshaun Watson, Malik Washington. Your bench could use improvement with upside as well. Don't get me wrong, I do like Trey Harris, I do like Jalen Coker, but why are we drafting a Jerry Jeudy? Unfortunately, Jeudy didn't do anything last year. Deshaun Watson, guys, it's not. We're not back in 2020 here. Malik Washington hasn't really done anything. You know, Ray Davis, backup running back, turning 27. Your bench could use improvement, and your running backs could use improvement. But I do like the vision of this team. I think I'm gonna give this team a 6.4, 6.4 Romenzo. I do like the vision of this team. In my opinion, like I said, I would trade for a better running back for sure. But with that being said, guys, shout out to everybody for being here, man. Shout out to Alex, Gold, Blake, Jay West, Romenzo, Matt, C-Mac, Maddie, Brad, Goodbird, Sounded, and Devin for all being here. I appreciate y'all. With that being said, man, we are now done with the reviews. Thank you guys for tuning in.